Hi there. Thanks so much for watching this week's video message. I'd like to talk a little bit about writing today. With our students, we all know they can use some additional writing practice. So, I'd like to share one resource that I have for you that is going to give them some quick practice, but also incorporate some other skills, namely some morphology practice. So, what I have found when I want to have some writing practice with a student, that of course we want a really structured approach to help them feel like there's a consistent way to go about completing a writing task. The other thing I want to make sure is that we have consistent graphic organizers. If there are just too many different graphic organizers that students are seeing out there, maybe there's some cutesy ones that match a particular theme or a time of year or something, then I do think that the actual purpose of the graphic organizer tends to get lost. And a graphic organizer is really there to help them visualize what their thoughts are out on paper so that they can sort of mind map up here. And so over time, that scaffold of a graphic organizer can actually begin to be imprinted up here and help them recall and then be able to enhance their written output over time. So the graphic organizer is the scaffold, but we want to be mindful of the types of graphic organizers that we have. So there are some that lend them to certain tasks better than others. So for instance, the tried and true Venn diagram is of course going to be great for a compare and contrast, right? So we want to just really be thinking about just sticking to a collection of maybe like 3 or 4, at the most 5 different graphic organizers that your students are really used to using effectively each time. Before we have them use a graphic organizer, we always want to model how one's being used so that we're really going through those gradual release of responsibility steps very, very carefully. So with this particular writing prompt, you're going to find this is a new resource that I have, and this is connected to all of the morphology resources that I have been creating over the past few years to sort of tie everything together. So we know when we're doing a focus lesson on one morpheme, then I have a lot of different resources to help you teach that with your students. But what I found was that with that focus of that one morpheme, we wanted to make sure that students were building greater utility and application. They're understanding the meaning of that morpheme so that they could actually not only see examples, but utilize them in their writing. And that's really where true application is going to happen. Okay, so up here, you'll notice that as with a lot of my other morphology resources, there's going to be a photo to illustrate what the morpheme is. So this is suffix ION, and they would say it's a suffix and the meaning, and then there's always some examples. Okay, so we always have that at the top. Underneath, there's a prompt. What do you do when your concentration is broken? So what we've done in the prompt is use a word with that morpheme ION, suffix ION in it. Okay, you can have students pull out that word and underline it. And then what they're going to do is use the graphic organizer to plan out their ideas and then, of course, write them down here. So what we've done, we've provided a visual, the meaning, some examples, consistent graphic organizers, and then space for them to write at the bottom. Now, of course, this isn't like full report writing, right? This is something that you may be using for small group writing as a shared writing activity where you're modeling and helping them and guiding them along the way to help them become more independent, right? You can do it as a quick writing assessment. You could give it as a partner assignment. Students are crafting it together with one other student, as even as a homework assignment in a journal. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. But once again, the purpose is to get them to be able to build deeper understanding of what those morphemes are and building their morphological awareness. So the prompt once again was, what do you do when your concentration is broken? So what I would advise students is, so this is a simple web, is first of all, just write down, what do I do? Right? Form it as a question. All right, my handwriting is not the neatest right here, and because I'm writing sideways. All right, what do I do? Okay, and so we sort of brainstorm, right? Change locations, right? Now that's going to be dependent on the setting that a child is in, right? If they're breaking their concentration, if when they're in the middle of a dance routine, obviously they have to think of something different to do. In a classroom, sure, you could change locations, or if they're at home, maybe go to another room. I chose the word location, and you can probably understand why, right? Suffix ION. So wanted to sort of weave that in there. One more example. We've got concentration, location, right? Okay. But let's sort of help students frame their thoughts by actually thinking of a setting. I think that's going to help them rather than being globally in many different settings. I think focusing their web on just one setting is going to help guide their thoughts here, so that they're writing down when they're writing here is not going to feel like a list. It's going to be a little more thoughtful. Okay, so I put down reread was another one, right? Look for examples. I put ask for help, right? Or clarification. So what if we put clarification, right? There's another good one with ION. Okay. And then the last one was, just using some mindfulness, like a stretch break, right? Or breathing, right? Because if we think about being in a place of losing concentration, maybe it was because there was some distraction. Oh, there's another one, right? And sort of thinking about how to eliminate those distractions. Okay. And then from there, then you would help students craft a good opening sentence and then going through their details. Maybe you want to have them prioritize. Number what they think is from least important to the most important. So maybe they think the most important one is changing locations, but you don't want to start with the most important, right? So maybe we start with the least important. I don't know. Maybe that's look for examples. Maybe stretch and breathe will be number 2. Ask for clarification, number 3. Reread, number 4. And change locations, number 5. So kind of prioritize them. Maybe you want to have them say, nope, I'm sorry. I don't want you to use all 5. I want you to eliminate 2 and only focus on writing about 3 of the most important. Okay, so start with an opening sentence. Like when my concentration is broken, I have a few ways that I can get help. And then they can go through each of the ways, however many they chose, and then craft them into sentences and then come up with a closing, something like, what do you do when your concentration is broken? Maybe end with a sentence, right? Make it a little more conversational. All right, so each of the morphology writing prompts is kind of set up like this, only the graphic organizer is not the same every single time. We've put in graphic organizers to match the type of prompt. So some of the prompts might be a little more following a particular procedure. So it might be a procedural prompt. And so there might be a graphic organizer that looks like steps. Okay, sometimes it's a topic web. Sometimes it might be a Venn diagram. So check it out. See if it's something that you would like to try with your students, especially if they would benefit from more writing practice, but also to build up their morphological understanding and awareness. So thank you so much for checking this out today. You can find all of my videos either on my YouTube channel. Really appreciate it if you follow me, or you can go to the Literacy Nest Video Vault and check them out there. The link to this resource for morphology writing prompts will be included. Have a great day.